Hello, this is Gilles Mancillon. I wanted to come very briefly to comment on the world of the invisible world, those kind of things I've been talking about, transcendental psychology. First, we are going through a new moon that is very powerful in Capricorn, and it is is made even more powerful because there is the planet Pluto that's behind it, and so it is accentuating the potential for inner transformation. So it is very deep and powerful. I hope you are feeling it. Mercury is going to go retrograde, but then again, we're used to that. It gives us a time to slow down, to put in perspective, to review some of the things we have learned. On the 21st, we have a solar eclipse that will be very potent and powerful. On the 21st, there is also two planets, Saturn and Uranus, that will speak in a triangular effect, which is quite harmonious, where the past and the future will be in total alignment, and so that will, and then a couple of days after, Saturn will go direct, so there may be some great sense of reward for the work that has been done. It may be unexpected, because Uranus is about the unexpected. And so right now we are just about to arrive at the great galactic New Year, and the Egyptian civilization for many millennia used to celebrate this day as the New Year, for it is they were really connected to the star of Sirius, the blue sun of Sirius, and so it is on the 26th. It is the time where the blue sun of Sirius rises in the same time in the sky as the sunrise, and so we have two suns. We have the blue star and the golden star that are both in the sky together, and then it fully opened up on the August 8th at the Lion's Gate. Sirius is a very old civilization. It's always been a somewhat of a mentor, a parent to our own solar system. It was a protective force during the galactic wars. But those are very old memories. But there's many Sirians that had to come here to the Earth to make a base to hold the frequency. A very typical example of that. Extraterrestrial implications are the dolphins, for those who can believe that. Of course, not everybody believes that. Most people believe that dolphins are animals, for they do not have this mental body type of things, but they're extremely evolved in terms of emotional integration. They live in joy, they live in freedom, they live in truth, they live in pure ecstasy of the moment. They have no hang-up, basically. And so they are here to keep a frequency for humanity. The dolphins are originate from a water planet that orbits around Sirius B, and there are many other there are humanoid civilizations on Sirius B as well. The original owner of that system is the triple star system. For the more star there is in the system, the more chances you will have biological life evolving. But it is kind of rare it's very difficult to evolve biological life from one star systems. When you have two or three, then it becomes extremely easy, much easier. We'll come to discover that when we explore the galaxy. We'll find that there's so much more civilizations that are installed around these multiple star systems. And so in essence, the original owners of that system that resides on Sirius A are the lion beings. The lion's beings are gigantic beings. They are sixth and seventh dimension, and they are the guardian, the police. They always been the guardians of the galaxy. For the lions are the royal house. They have to maintain the galactic order, and so they are very. They come down here. I've seen them here on the Earth. I've met with them. They are huge. They are very big in relationship to humans, but they're not dangerous. They are not. They are vegetarians, so they are not going to eat you up if you meet them. So there is nothing to fear from them. They look like lions, but they stand on 2 feet, and they're more like human. They're like a hybrid between humanoid and the lions, like the animals we have here. The most famous of all lion beings that have worked on the Earth is a goddess named Sekhmet. I've been working with her for many years. She's a beautiful being. She's very powerful. You can call on her and ask her to remove all those things, those negative things that you have a hard time with, and allow her, give her the permission to access, and she will come. She'll put her power. She's got this very powerful power, and she will, whatever it is, and can remove anything from any debris, cosmic debris, or anything, any fear, any doubts, any blockages. She can really help. She's working from the planet Nibiru actually right now. She's working from that platform that's been liberated from a cosmic standpoint. For those things are maybe a little metaphysical. In essence, what we so this is what eventually, after the ascension, our own solar system will be integrated within this triple star system of Sirius, and just as Sirius is also a crystic and crystalline portal, a doorway that most of the Sirian civilization are 6th and 7th dimension, and 5th and 6th dimension, and they're moving towards 7th, 8th dimension. And so this portal of Sirius, when we can project our consciousness through it, is like a gateway to the galactic center. So we will be using that more and more, and you can always contact the Sirius beings. Are very kind. They're very. There is a blue humanoid beings that have many bases here on the Earth, or few bases here on the Earth. But there are many extraterrestrials that have been living on the Earth very discreetly for a very long time. Eventually, we'll be able to reconnect with all those pockets of consciousness. They've been guarding, they've been protecting certain ancient technologies and crystals until humankind will be ready to regain the consciousness to use them. And so just wanted to make a last point is when the word Sophia means wisdom, and it is also the name of the great mother of our own local universe. So you can call on Sophia Nebadonia. It is the great mother is the prime creator of our universe. So that is why a lot of advanced beings consider the mother to be the prime creator, because when this universe was created, she was the first one that had to be coming into this universe. She's eternally, she moved from paradise into the center of that universe, and she established herself, and she will always be at the center of the universe. And then she expanded her spiritual circuit to embrace the whole universe. And then the Father Creator came from paradise, and the Father, Mother God, they created all the orders of celestial beings and this heavenly realm and all the stations, the celestial stations of all local universe. And then eventually they created the planets for humans to ascend through that process. So in essence, when we realize that we live in a world of matter, which is we are the lowest sort of order of intelligent beings given reason and free choice. For many philosophers would say that we stand between the angels, who do not have free choice because they're always doing the will of God, and the animals, who do not have free choice because they're always following the instinct. And humankind does not have any archetype. He has to make up his mind in relationship to if we choose to go towards the angels or regress towards the animal. Eventually we want to ascend towards the angelic level. And so the higher we go in dimension, the more wisdom beings possess. For wisdom, in essence, is the highest function of integration of all other attributes that we can acquire. That's why it is impossible to define it or narrow it into any form of anything, because it always depends, knowing that only God possesses infinite wisdom. For there are sevenfold distribution of this divinity. For the Father, Mother God is the unity of the divine feminine, divine masculine. This is the universe of time and space. But above that, as we ascend, we will meet the Ancient of Days, the three rulers of our super universe. Then as we ascend, we will come to meet Orvonton, the master spirit number 7 of the 7 master spirits of our 7 super universe. As we ascend into higher frequency, we will come to discover the Supreme Being, which is the combination of all 7 master spirits as they relate to time and space. It is like the Supreme Being is like the oversoul of the grand universe. And then as we ascend, we find the infinite spirit, the conjunct actor, the one who puts into action the eternal plans of the Father and the Son. And as we move through the spirit, the great mind minister, we discover the eternal Son, who's the absolute spiritual being. It is the only being that is an absolute spiritual person, and so it's not fragmentable like the spirit of the Father. It can never be fragmented, but so it is a paradise presence that is the center of all spirituality. And beyond that, there is the Father, the prime source of all creation, who's the origin of both paradise and the sun. And together, they eventuated the infinite spirit that activated the patterns of paradise to create the central universe of perfection. And after that, the gods decided to expand creation beyond the realm of the infinite perfect into the realm of the finite, in order to discover, to explore experiences beyond that which is perfection. And so it is all a process, and eventually we come to realize that we need to return to that source, return to that spiritual universe through the connection in the heart, and that is what we are seeking to do. And the more we are able to turn our thought to any form of divinity, in essence, but you can just use your thought with your intention to turn your thoughts to the first source and center, to the center of all creation, to the one true God, that embrace all the forms of divinity, because even if God the Father is the primal cause, but he will never be found through material exploration of science, although many philosophers are looking for this primal cause. There are a lot of secondary and associated causes that will always create distortion and confusion, but it's part of the process, part of the rich complexity of the pattern diversity of both the higher realm and the lower realm. For the higher realm do not evolve as fast as the lower realm does, but everything needs to evolve, for that is the law of evolution. It is functional in all dimensions. For only God does not change. Everything else is always in motion, always in either descending energy or ascending energy. For there are two kinds of wisdom. The first kind of wisdom is the ascending wisdom, the wisdom that we gain as mortal beings. As we ascend, we gain information, we gain through experience, we are learning things, and eventually it accumulates into the ascension. But this evolutionary wisdom is always complemented by descending wisdom, which is a new resource that you can use. There are those beings that are called the perfecters of wisdom. They are the personification of the wisdom of God, and so they are eternal. They were created like that. They are just perfect being, eternal being from paradise that have been sent into the universe of universes to bring wisdom into any situation, and they serve all levels of reality, from the highest to the lowest. But as mortal beings are concerned, they have been saying that, and I've used their service many times for many years, decades, is when we do not know, we can always ask a perfect turn our thoughts, or a perfecter of wisdom, say, please show me the wisdom in my situation. And then you wait, and at some point your intuition will show you something. It may not be what you want to hear, but it will be what wisdom lies, what's important, what needs to be done, what needs to be addressed, what needs to be followed. And so, and they are infallible in wisdom. For in essence, there are many things that we can figure out by ourselves, but there are certain times where we do not have a clue. And so I like what the philosopher Spinoza was approaching that. His reflections are very deep and profound, and is extremely complex. But there is this one thing where he believes that when we do not know, we call on the exile of ignorance, which means that we can put everything in the hands of God, because we don't know. So if we don't know, we're not going to judge or take an opinion. We prefer to allow God to show us, to make that, to give, or whatever situation, to put it in the hands of God. So you know that whatever happened will be for the highest good, rather than trying to fake it and then get a lower result. So this idea of not knowing is something very powerful, that for the universe may not like void. Everything that is void has been filled, like Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching explained. But in a sense, to stay within the void is very important, because the longer we can stay there without having to fill it up, the easier it is for the universe to fill up our void, and to allow, if we allow our consciousness to open ourselves to new level of well, it's not even that once we open to it, it just happened. It's not like we can make it, or it's just happened, and it is just the ability of the more we are able to stay void, the more this inner light can reveal itself within our mind. Well, I won't make this video too long. I'm going to pull a few cards for the day. Excusez-moi. Sometimes my computer is like not an artificial intelligence. But so what is the highest wisdom for us today is the Pathfinder. It is being able to connect to that guide that will give us the best possible way to follow our Earth's path. How do we deal with Earth situation in the best possible way? For that we have guides that are here invisible, but that can help us, assist us, show us the way. And so the Pathfinder guide is a very important guide, and that is the wisdom that we need to discover today. What we need to understand is achievement. Achievement, it means resolution, it means empowerment, it means achieving what we need to achieve. And so it is a very slow process, but we are moving towards this achievement of achieving a new plateau of consciousness where we'll be able to feel that the old is gone and something totally new is opening up for us, and then we can be in gratitude for what has been removed and for the new that is being brought forth. What we need to do is limitation. We have to accept and operate within certain limitation. For we live in a finite world, and so as finite beings, we do not have infinite choice. So we do want to make sure that in relationship to our choices, we're not really limited in choices. But we do not have infinite choice, but we always have higher and lower choices. So it is about learning those things that slowly but surely bring us to the higher position, bring us to remove the limitation that we can still have, that will allow us to discover more truth and more freedom. And the key to for us today is the higher self, is to become the higher self, to become more of that soul, to allow our soul to be more integrated within ourselves, to ask our soul to free us from the limitation of this world, to embrace ourselves as eternal being. And for our soul is much older than we think, it's much wiser than we think, it's much more powerful than we think. It's just that we are accepting for all our life is designed by our soul. The soul is the projector of our life. So, and each soul is responsible for its own program. So I see a lot of people sometimes trying to push problem, to blame other people for their problem, which when those people are just mirror for themselves. And so it's about being like the Stoic, to only address that which is within your realm of control. Everything that is not within your realm of control, just let it be, let it go, trust. But you do have so much we do have so much that is within our power, although it is not always obvious. We will come to realize that we do have control over over what thought we choose to empower, over what emotion we choose to follow, over what how we can follow up on our intuition. There is all sort of approach and ways, but life is in essence there is this living truth of God that is within all life, and that is really what we seek. This presence is so wise and so expansive that it's very difficult to see in a limited fashion, because for a limited being to perceive an infinite being is very, very difficult. Philosophers throughout history have suffered that limitation, so to speak. But in essence, as you recognize yourself as infinite, you allow your mind to accept, your mind to open yourself to transcendental level. Transcendental level are not infinite; they're more going towards from supremacy to ultimacy, but eventually the supreme ultimate may lead to that infinity, and yet there is no need. It's just through intention to remove all the limitation that we can have within our mind, to project ourselves already within the infinite, and to see what we find, to see what happens there. It is we always have access to that through a vertical access. It is just a matter of forgetting for a little time all of those limitations of the world in order to give ourselves the time and space to breathe into something new. And then we come back, when we come back into our body, for we do not have a choice, we are incarnated unless we decide to ascend, but then we always bring back some light, some information, some knowledge in relationship to certain things that can have meaning within our life. Well, I hope this message was interesting for you. I send you blessing, love, and I'll talk to you later. Namaste.